Tonight we are playing Catapult Feud, where we launch these little balls in the catapults, powered by rubber bands, at each other's castles in the aim to knock out all the opponent's troops. It's a very silly dexterity game. You can play sort of with anybody of all ages. Despite the silliness of the game, I guess I'm very welcome that you're here. Georgia, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Glad you're here. Now, we used to work together at cinema back in the day.
Back in the day?
Back in the day, yep. Literally years ago. Mm-hmm. Now you have moved into a different field. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
So I'm an early years speech pathologist, and I'm currently working in the NDIS sector. That's good. That's nice.
Before we go too much into dealing in that, can you start shooting these little plastic balls at me? Also, this show is made with the help of RMIT volunteers who work very hard. We cannot do it without them. Today, also, one of them, Jake, is going to be trying to find these little rubber balls in this dark studio. So thank you, Jake. Georgia, take us away.
Get ready, Jake.
You've knocked two of them off already. So you worked for early years for speech pathologists. Now, before I started working in nursing, I kind of assumed that speech pathology was just effectively speech impediment.
I get that a lot. It's like, the occasional stutter, all that sort of thing. There you go. That's for you. But no, it's a little bit more than that. It goes from speech, which is your stuttering and all that. And if you've got some sound difficulties, and then we've got language, so receptive and expressive delays and stuff like that. And then I've also got some social stuff as well. So if you've got like some inferencing difficulties, or if you're having trouble reading a room, I do a little bit of that. And then it can expand into like feeding and feeding and swallowing and stuff like that. So it's really, it's broad, and it surprised me at how broad it was. Yeah, but it's good. Because
I thought it was basically just the King's Speech.
Yeah.
Which you were saying you had not seen.
Oh, don't put me to shame. No, I haven't seen it. Yes, I should watch it.
Ooh.
Oh! All right. But yeah, no, it's good. You would see a lot of me in your hospital settings.
You are slaughtering me. Here's a couple there.
I'm competitive.
Yeah, you're knocking. I've got two guys left. Thank you.
Jake. Thank you, Jake.
MVP. Swallowing was we'll let Jake refill the... Jake. Yeah, swallowing was one thing that I really didn't realise was such a big part of it in a hospital. Is someone having trouble swallowing? What diet can they have? What can we do? Because it's a really big issue. It's
nuts. You see it in like progressive conditions and cancers and stuff like that. So we can sort of go in and essentially see how their function's going and then change their diet accordingly. And there's a lot of science behind it. And when we were studying it in uni, I was like, whoa, there's so much responsibility I didn't realize. But it's an area of interest that I'd love to sort of go into, but alas, we'll stay with where I am at the moment.
Yeah.
I've
got one left, yep.
Yeah.
So I guess from when you sort of started thinking about going to there to now, when you've been there for about a year, what has been the biggest surprise or biggest changes that you've noticed, I guess, in your understanding of the role? Sorry.
It's look, I mean, in uni they explain how broad it is, but when I go into a lot of people's homes, and a lot of it, you sort of end up inadvertently doing a lot of counselling because you're with people's families, you're with their children, and like with grandparents and everybody's really involved. So it was, I guess, more emotional than I thought. You would see it in nursing. All of a sudden, everybody sort of confides in you, and it can be. I was like, whoa, this is very rewarding. But that was probably my biggest surprise.
You have dominated and knocked off all my troops. Your one surviving guy has won. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up again.
Okay.
We've got some more to talk about. You can basically do any design you want.
All right.
As long as they're either vertical or horizontal. So we'll quickly design a new structure.
But yeah, what have you found that's surprising in your role?
Well, I think
You're kind of like me, where we haven't been out very long, have we?
yeah, I'm at the time of recording like 2 months into nursing, into health nursing.
Yeah.
And yeah, how similar it can be to customer service.
Yeah. Yeah, Village helped a lot.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, because it's also for nursing as well. You are you're the forward face, for better or worse sometimes. So that can mean sometimes you're the only person they can express their anger to.
Yeah.
And that can be what it is. Yeah, it is. It definitely can be rewarding, and then sometimes it's equally frustrating.
Yeah.
Georgia, do you want to take us away for our second bout?
No, you were so kind to me. You go first.
Okay.
What's this little...
This is maybe it's not the most structurally sound.
No, I
design,
like it.
but we'll see how it goes.
I don't know how much. Yeah, no, Village was the movies was a nice sort of setup in teaching you patience.
Yeah, well, I mean, any sort of service job is gonna teach you quite a bit that you find that you can carry through it a lot.
Well done.
Yeah, because one of my placements in nursing, we did was diagnostic imaging, and they did barrow swallows where you're drinking a liquid that can come up on X-rays, and they're actually videoing the liquid going down. You can see where it catches. And I was like, this is so far beyond what I thought this role was.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. I unfortunately haven't had a lot of exposure to those sorts of imagings because I haven't been in a hospital setting, but soon. I really like the hospital setting. It's really interesting working with patients who've had strokes and all of that sort of neuroscience around it. I always found it super cool. But yeah, a lot of my time at the moment is just sort of...
That was for Jake, I think.
Jake! Is spent with kids. We're working on like functional goals for like school and getting them through school. I see a lot of autism and ADHD, so it's like some sensory regulation strategies and stuff like that. So yeah, it was way broader than I thought it was.
So have you had consumers where you've seen some progression and sort of heading towards a sort of recovery or...
So well, within disability, your progress is generally pretty slow. But I have seen some good things where, like, I've got some children who are currently like non-verbal, and so we put in this alternative communication system where it's like an iPad. It looks different for a bunch of different reasons, but and you can put in a little device, and then all of a sudden they've got their own little voice, and they can start talking to you about stuff, which is very nice to put in place and see the outcome of it. Like one of the little boys was having a lot of trouble in kinder, and now he's in primary school, which is just very, very, very cool.
So that was back in the day there, but now we've moved on to bigger and better things as we're away from our sort of...
no more night work.
Hospitality. Yeah, well, I guess that's the good thing of being allied health is Monday to
5.
Friday, 9 to 5. It's really interesting to hear what you've been doing and the sort of and how you've been helping a lot of younger kids who have been having trouble communicating. Sort of really nice to hear about that.
It's been good.
And good to catch up. Thank you very much, Georgia.
No worries.